Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe, Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, we're gonna be smoking up an entire beef shoulder clod on my Yoder Frontiersman. I've got the boys coming over for game day. This ought to feed them. Stay tuned. You can see, look at this bark. It's crazy. Oh man, this is perfect. It helps to start with a nice sharp knife, okay? Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, so what I've got here is a 24-pound, yep, you heard that right, 24-pound beef shoulder clod. And believe it or not, this was the smallest one that the store had. There was actually a 30-pound beef shoulder clod in there. Can you imagine the size of that one? So as you can see, we've got some fat that we got to remove. And there's also a ton of connective tissue that we've got to remove from the shoulder clod before we smoke it. So I'm gonna just start to trim it down. And I'll talk to you about the beef shoulder clod a little bit. I did smoke a beef shoulder clod on my Yoder Y640 pellet smoker. In fact, I'm gonna leave a link in the description box at the end of this video so you guys can check that out. And it tasted really good. And on that video, I said, man, I can't wait to smoke a beef shoulder clod on my offset smoker. So I finally got the opportunity to do that. We're gonna have this for game day tomorrow. I'm actually preparing this the day before so that we can have it ready for game day. Now my buddy Rye at Cooking with Rye recently cooked a beef shoulder clod. Now he just cooked one of the 3 large muscles that's in the shoulder clod. I'm gonna leave a link to his channel so you guys can check out that video. I think he did a really good job of trimming his shoulder. So I trimmed off a lot of the fat off the top, and you can start to see the different muscles that are on this shoulder. Okay, there's a muscle right here, there's another muscle right here, and then the larger piece is right here, and this piece over here on this side as well. So there's some really large muscles in this, and we're gonna keep it whole and smoke it just like a brisket. So I've trimmed off everything that I want to trim off on this side. Actually, just a little bit more right here. Okay, let's flip it over and see what we got on the other side. All right, so here's some of the heavy connective tissue, as you can see right here, and you definitely want to remove that. On my first cook, I thought this was silver skin, but it's actually connective tissue where it connects to the bone, and you want to remove this. Okay, there's some other spots in here. Just remove those pieces. It's kind of tough as well, so you definitely don't want to be cooking that because it will not render. All right, so I've got the shoulder clod trimmed down as much as I want it trimmed. And now we are going to be using a binder for the shoulder clod, and I usually use mustard, but we're going to use some of the W sauce on this just to add a good beefy flavor to it. Rub it down, rub down both sides. So the first rub that I'm using for the shoulder clod is this Texas beef from Kosmos Q. Just gonna add a light layer to it. Now this is a big piece of meat, okay? But I'm just gonna add a light layer because I'm gonna go heavy on my SPG. So just like this. All right, so that Kosmos Q is gonna add a really good beef flavor to the shoulder clod. We're gonna follow it up with my SPG. We're gonna go a little heavy with this. And I will leave the ingredients to my SPG in the description box so you guys can check that out. It's absolutely delicious. And this is gonna take a ton of rub, okay? This is a big piece of meat. I trimmed off probably 3-4 pounds of fat and connective tissue. So we're left with probably 19, 20 pounds maybe. So just add a ton of rub to this. Again, this is a really big piece of meat. Just like that, we're gonna flip it over and get the other side. The W sauce, followed by the Kosmos Q Texas beef, again a light layer, and then a heavy coating of my SPG. So this is gonna sit in my fridge overnight. We're gonna get this rub to really penetrate and season this large piece of meat. We're gonna start my Yoder Frontiersman early in the morning, and we'll see you guys then. Stay tuned. All right, so it's the very next day, and I am outside at my Yoder Frontiersman. So let's put this beef shoulder clod in, top shelf on the left side. I'm just gonna pull it out of my pan here. And the thickest portion of the shoulder clod is gonna go towards that firebox. And this is a really big piece of meat. All right, so the fat cap that was on here is on the bottom of the shelf, okay? So I will be using my meter temperature probe, and I'm gonna put it right here on the thickest portion of it, just like that. And it will be monitoring the temperature via the meter app. So let's go ahead and slide that back in there, shut my door. I'll bring you guys back in about 3 hours. Stay tuned. All right, so 3 hours into the cook, and my pit is running at 275. You can see on the top gauge and on the bottom gauge, we're running at 275. So let's take a look at this shoulder clod. Man, look at that color already. Only 3 hours in. Again, I have been running the pit at 275 degrees, which means I am having to run a little bit more wood in my pit than I normally would. So about a split and a half every hour or so. So we're gonna spritz it with apple cider vinegar and water. Mix it 50-50. That bark is definitely set, and it is looking really, really good. I'm not sure if you guys can see this on the camera or not, but you can definitely see the different muscles as it's cooking. It's separating a little bit right here. Okay, you see these seams right here? These are the different muscles that are inside the shoulder clod. And here's another muscle up front here. You can see that seam, that natural seam. There's one there, one that runs all the way down here. This is really good for pulled beef. You can slice this one right here, and you're gonna pull this one as well. We're gonna pull the entire thing. So we're gonna take this well over 205 degrees and until it's really nice and tender. So just give it a good spritz. I'm gonna be spritzing every 30 to 45 minutes, okay? I wanna keep the surface nice and moist. That way the smoke is attracted to that surface, and I get a good smoke ring and a good smoky flavor as well. So I'm gonna close the door on this thing. We'll check back in a couple of hours. Stay tuned. All right, so we are at the 6 hour mark, and the internal temperature of our shoulder clod is 165, okay? So I'm just gonna spritz. It's got a really nice bark on it already. Again, I'm using apple cider vinegar and water. Mix it 50-50, and I have been spritzing about every 30 minutes. So I know I'm gonna have a really nice smoke ring on this shoulder clod. All right, so it's a bit windy out here, but I do have 2 sheets of 18-inch butcher paper, and I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap it. Lay it down. Pull this side over, and lay it down. Then we want to wrap this as tight as possible, okay? So just pull it over. Tuck it really nice and tight. This is our fat cap that was down. It's up right now. Now it's down. Again, pull it really tight. Now this excess paper right here, just fold it on the bottom. Now this is the same exact process for briskets or any large pieces of meat. So this is gonna go back inside my smoker. I'm gonna go ahead and put my meter back in here. That way we can monitor the temperature, just like that. All right, so we're gonna put our shoulder clod back inside the smoker. We're looking for 205 degrees internal temperature. Remember I said we're gonna shred this, okay? So it's gotta come up way over 200 degrees. Once this hits 205 degrees, I'm gonna grab my thermopin and check for tenderness and see if it'll shred at that point. If it's ready at that point, we'll go ahead and pull it. I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so 10 hours into the cook, and my meter probe is saying that we're at 204 degrees. So I'm just gonna check the internal temperature and tenderness. Oh yeah, that is super soft. Okay, 204, 205 degrees, just like my meter probe is reading. So at this point, I'm just gonna pull it off, let it rest for about an hour, covered in foil, just on my kitchen counter, and let it get nice and tender. Stay tuned. All right, so the shoulder clod has been resting for an hour, and again, I pulled it out of the smoker, covered it in foil, and I'm just gonna take the foil off, pull my meter probe out. I was monitoring the temperature as it was resting. Oh man, it feels really tender. All right, so let's unwrap this bad boy. Let's see how we did. Oh yeah. You know, that bark is just like a brisket, okay? It's still really, really hot. All right, so I've got the shoulder clod on my cutting board, and I'm just gonna take some slices off of this. Wait a minute, I said I was gonna pull this, right? Who am I kidding? Look at this. Look at this. Man, this is good. You guys thought I was gonna slice it, right? Look at how easy this pulls. Good smoke ring. I mean, look at this. Man, this meat has got a beautiful smoke ring, still really nice and juicy and hot. Look at this. All right, I'm gonna shred this and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, we've got the shoulder clod pulled, and look at this mountain of goodness. Nice smoke ring throughout the entire beef right there. So I've got some Duke's mayo. We're gonna make ourselves a sandwich. I've got myself a nice sourdough baguette here that I got from a local bakery. Just gonna apply some of the Duke's mayo on here. I've also got a skillet right here next to me. We're gonna toast this up. All right, so I've got my baguette nice and toasted, as you can see right here. Got a really nice toast on that. We're gonna add a little bit of horseradish sauce to this on the top and the bottom. I gotta tell you, a good horseradish with a good smoked beef is just absolutely delicious, okay? Got a little bit of crunch on that bread, which is gonna be fantastic. Then we're just gonna grab a handful of this beef, just like this, and pile it on there. Look at that bad boy right there. I'm gonna put the top on it. Let's give it a taste. All right, let's give this sandwich a try and see how we did with our smoked beef shoulder clod. This is a giant sandwich. Here we go. That is really tasty. Good smoky flavor. You know, you can serve this with some barbecue sauce on the side. Me personally, I'm not a big barbecue sauce guy, but your guest might be, so prepare a bottle of barbecue sauce so they can pour it on the top. Overall, this sandwich is fantastic. You know, it's got a good crunch to that sourdough, that horseradish, that smoked beef is just absolutely delicious. It's definitely worth the 10 hours that it takes to smoke a beef shoulder clod. Again, this was a 24-pound beef shoulder clod. Now, it did lose some volume and some weight, obviously, with the fat renders, but you're still left with a ton of pulled beef. Perfect for sandwich, perfect for tacos. I mean, you can do so much, burritos, you name it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.